Religion is one of the most powerful forces in human history. It shapes culture, identity, laws, and even geopolitics. But not every religion is treated equally around the world. In some countries, Islam is practiced quietly by individuals, but the state refuses to officially recognize it as a religion. This means no legal protections, no official mosques, no recognized marriages, and in some cases even punishment for open practice. Today we will explore 7 countries that refuse to recognize Islam as a religion. We will examine their history, their politics, and the real impact this has on the daily lives of Muslims. Stay with me until the end because some of these cases will surprise you and reveal how fragile freedom of religion can be when state power is involved. And remember, all the official sources we use to prepare this video are listed in the description, so you can check them for yourself after watching. Let us begin with country number 7. Number 7, Slovakia. Slovakia is unique inside the European Union. While most EU countries officially recognize Islam, Slovakia deliberately chose not to. In 2017, the Slovak parliament passed a law raising the minimum number of followers required for a faith to register as a religion from 20,000 to 50,000. Muslims in Slovakia number fewer than 5,000, which makes it mathematically impossible for them to reach the threshold. This law was supported openly by nationalist politicians who admitted that their goal was to prevent Islam from gaining official status in the country. As a result, Islam has no legal recognition. There are no official mosques in the country, only small prayer rooms and cultural centers run by communities. Islamic marriages cannot be legally registered. Imams are not recognized as religious leaders by the state. There is no state funding, unlike Catholic or Protestant churches. This situation leaves Muslims in Slovakia isolated, practicing their faith without institutional support. It also creates a paradox. Slovakia is a member of the European Union, which promotes religious freedom, yet inside its borders, Islam remains unrecognized. The refusal has drawn criticism from human rights organizations who see the law as discriminatory, but Slovak authorities defend it as necessary for cultural protection. For Muslims living there, daily life means adapting quietly, often practicing privately, and lacking the public recognition that other faiths enjoy. Some Slovak Muslims have pointed out that this forces them into invisibility, raising children in a country where their religion is officially denied. Number 6, Greece. Greece has a long and complicated relationship with Islam. For nearly 4 centuries, Greece was under Ottoman rule, and that history still shapes national identity today. The Greek constitution recognizes the Orthodox Church as the prevailing religion. Islam is recognized only in one region, Western Thrace, where a Muslim minority of Turkish and Pomak origin has lived for generations. But outside Thrace, Islam is not treated as an equal religion. Muslim associations in Athens or Thessaloniki often face legal obstacles to register officially. For decades, Athens had the distinction of being the only European capital without a functioning mosque. Muslims had to pray in private apartments or rented basements. Only in 2019 did the government open a small state-run mosque in Athens. But even this mosque is strictly controlled, with no minarets and no independent Islamic authority managing it. Independent Muslim groups still struggle to gain recognition. This has left thousands of immigrants from Pakistan, Egypt, and Bangladesh without proper spaces for religious life. The result is a 2-tier system. The historic minority in Thrace has limited recognition, but the larger Muslim immigrant community is left in legal limbo. For many Muslims, this creates a feeling of invisibility in a country that identifies strongly with orthodoxy. The refusal to grant full recognition shows how religion and national history continue to intersect in Greek politics. It also illustrates how even within the European Union, freedom of religion can look very different depending on local history and cultural memory. Number 5, Czech Republic. The Czech Republic is one of the most secular countries in Europe. Surveys show that a majority of Czechs identify as non-religious. This secular mindset influences how the state treats all faiths, including Islam. To be officially registered, a religion in the Czech Republic must meet strict requirements, including having at least 10,000 adult members who are citizens. The Muslim population in the country is much smaller, about 20,000 in total, including foreign residents. Because of this, Islam has not gained full recognition. There are mosques in Prague and Brno, but Islamic marriages are not legally accepted, and Islamic schools do not receive state support. Muslim organizations are allowed to exist, but they operate under associations law, not as recognized religious institutions. This creates obstacles for Muslims who want their religion to be treated equally in public life. The refusal to recognize Islam officially reflects both secularism and growing anti-immigrant sentiment in Czech politics. Some nationalist politicians have openly warned against recognizing Islam, framing it as a threat to national culture. This leaves the Muslim community in a vulnerable position, tolerated in private but excluded from state recognition. Muslims in the Czech Republic often emphasize that while they face little direct persecution, the lack of recognition marginalizes their identity and restricts their rights compared to other religions. Number 4. Eritrea. Eritrea is one of the most repressive countries in the world when it comes to religion. The government only recognizes 4 faiths: the Eritrean Orthodox Church, the Roman Catholic Church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church, and Sunni Islam. But even though Islam is listed, recognition is not real. The state controls Islamic institutions directly. Imams are appointed by the government. Sermons are monitored, and any religious activity outside state control is illegal. Independent Muslim groups or schools are not recognized. Muslims cannot form their own organizations. Those who do risk arrest, harassment, and imprisonment. So while Eritrea appears on paper to recognize Islam, in practice the government refuses to allow it to exist freely. The recognition is hollow, and believers live under constant surveillance. This makes Eritrea a country where religion exists only under the permission of the authoritarian state, and Islam is reduced to a controlled and restricted identity. Reports from human rights groups describe cases of Muslims being detained simply for trying to practice independently, proving that recognition exists only as a facade. Number 3. Laos. Laos is a communist one-party state where religion is tightly controlled. Buddhism is encouraged as part of national culture, and Christianity and the Baha'i faith are recognized. But Islam is not recognized. The Muslim population in Laos is tiny, mostly immigrants from South Asia living in Vientiane. There is no official mosque, no Islamic schools, and no recognized religious association. Muslims must practice in private homes or small informal spaces. Halal food is almost impossible to find. Islam has no legal protections under Laotian law. This means Muslims live in silence, invisible to the state, and without recognition for their faith. The refusal is not based on hostility, but on the communist system that limits religion to a very narrow list. For Muslims, the result is the same. Their faith is not recognized, and they cannot live it publicly. This lack of recognition means children grow up with no access to Islamic education, and young Muslims often leave Laos to practice their faith more freely elsewhere. Number 2. North Korea. North Korea is often described as the most hostile country to religion in the world. The Constitution mentions freedom of religion, but in practice all faiths are suppressed. The state ideology is Juche, which demands loyalty to the Kim dynasty. Christianity is persecuted brutally. Islam is not recognized at all. There are no mosques, no Islamic schools, and no legal way for citizens to practice. The only mosque in the entire country is inside the Iranian embassy in Pyongyang, used only by diplomats. Ordinary North Koreans cannot enter. This means Islam, like all religions, is refused recognition completely. The state sees any religion as a rival to its ideology. Muslims in North Korea do not exist publicly, and anyone caught practicing would face severe punishment. In this way, North Korea represents the extreme case, total denial of religion, with Islam erased entirely from public life. Accounts from defectors confirm that ordinary citizens have almost no awareness of Islam, since the state keeps the population isolated from global religious diversity. Number 1. Cuba. Cuba is known for its unique blend of Catholicism and Afro-Cuban religions like Santeria. The government recognizes Catholicism, Protestant churches, and some Afro-Cuban faiths. But Islam is not officially recognized. The Muslim population is small, around 10,000 people, mostly converts and immigrants. There is no official mosque. Muslims gather in cultural centers, private spaces, or at embassies. For many years, there was no halal food legally available. Islamic marriages are not recognized, and there are no Islamic schools. While Cuba has allowed more religious diversity in recent decades, Islam remains outside the list of officially recognized faiths. This leaves Muslims invisible in legal terms, unable to have the same rights as other religious groups. The refusal shows how small communities can be left without recognition when the state defines which religions are legitimate. Some Cuban Muslims have spoken publicly about the challenges of raising children in a society where their religion has no official status, making them feel excluded from national identity. These 7 countries, Slovakia, Greece, Czech Republic, Eritrea, Laos, North Korea, and Cuba, show us different ways in which a state can refuse to recognize Islam. In some places, like Slovakia and the Czech Republic, the refusal is tied to numbers and legal thresholds. In others, like Greece, it is linked to history and national identity. In authoritarian states like Eritrea, Laos, and North Korea, it is about state control. And in Cuba, it is about limiting the number of officially accepted religions. For Muslims in these countries, life means practicing privately, facing restrictions, and lacking equal rights. It raises an important question for all of us. What does freedom of religion really mean, and how fragile can it be? If you are traveling, moving, or studying abroad, knowing how Islam and other religions are treated is essential. And if you care about human rights, these cases remind us that recognition is never automatic. It must be defended.